go live, especially when I'm not in my proper setting, because, I get called often to, someone's calling me or someone's asking me questions, and it just throws me off. But I'm in my car, so again, I don't normally do this. I don't typically go live, especially in my car or something like this. But I have a brief moment of time, and normally I would do this when I have the time to at least get in a setting. But I've been thinking, because there's so much content on social media, and I truly believe that social media really, a lot of times it's for entertainment. But I do believe that social media should be just an easy access for you to get the information that you need. That you may not have to go to the library to get what you need, or you may not have to necessarily read it in a book, but you can go to social media and research and get some information that you didn't know quickly. Whether it be getting information on how to fix something, a DIY, advice. But so many times people are giving advice and they're not the right person for it, or they're giving um, you know you information about something and it's not correct. So that's the downfall of social media. And sometimes it's entertainment, but it's foolishness. It's foolish entertainment rather than informational and things that's going to edify the soul and help you to be a better person. Now, as you know, I do wisdom series. I've been doing wisdom series since the beginning of the year, and I am going to keep on with that. I truly believe that a lot of times people think wisdom is just advice based on experience, but I do believe it's based on application as well. It's based on someone who is trying to apply this to their life. They're using self control to do the things that they say they're going to do, and not just impose upon other people to do the right thing, but they actually try to apply it to their life. Instead of, you should do this, you should do that, but not me. I'm better than that. Even though they're not saying those words, that's how they're thinking. I'm telling you to do something that I'm not willing to do or I can't do. And I've learned that it's a mental battle, just like marriage, just like eating healthy, just like um, anything that we do in life is mostly a mental battle rather than the actual thing. So when you hear me say that marriage is not easy, but it's not hard, it is not to say that it can easily be done. It is meant to say that it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of um, wanting to do better. So being intentional, being consistent, that's what it takes. Just like eating. Someone could say, just eat healthy. It sounds simple in itself, but really, it takes a lot of mental capacity to every day choose to do and eat the right things, choose to exercise, choose to eat healthy, right? So, a lot of the things that we cannot do or that we're not willing to do to be better people is our mental, right? It's a mental battle, and every day you have to convince yourself, I'm doing this so I can be better for. Are you being better for yourself? Are you being better for your family? Are you being better based on your beliefs? What is it? Why are you doing the things that you do? And what is the end goal? And so I often talk about this with relationships as well. Someone asked me the other day, why are you opposed to online dating? And I said, well, the concept of online dating is not necessarily bad in itself, but I do believe that it makes us lazy. It makes us not want to get out and go. I'm married. I've been married for almost 14 years, but I still, when I go to the grocery store, when I go to the library, when I go, this place and that place, I see people of the opposite gender, and I see people who appear to be single. They don't have a ring on their finger, and they seem to be someone that could be potentially marriage material. Of course, I don't know these people, but a lot of people are saying they don't see people. I see people all the time, and I'm not even looking. So I do think that getting out there, you will be able to see people. I do truly believe that the one of the biggest reasons why I don't like online dating is because I believe that even when you see the person and you're not using online dating, people have issues vetting, both men and women. So if you're having issues in vetting, then it's going to be worse when it's online, because people can create this idea of what they want you to see and believe. And once you believe that, now once you've seen them in person, maybe you've been talking to them online for 2 weeks, you feel like you put in a little bit too much time to let it go so quickly. So now you're in a relationship with someone who's not best for you, and you've wasted 3 weeks now, 4 weeks, and this could be your husband or your wife, but you're dealing with, or I'm saying you could be with your husband or your wife, but you're dealing with someone who's not best for you. And so that doesn't leave room for the right person to be in your life. And that's why I truly believe that online dating, it makes it even harder for people to vet, because online gives the appearance and illusion of something that's not. And a lot of people don't necessarily have that gift to see the true spirit of someone. So if you want to if you want to be able to vet someone, you're going to need to look them in the eye. You're going to need to feel their energy. You're going to need to feel the spirit that's on them. And that takes a lot of time, because even though I know that I have that gift of discernment, it truly takes me being someone who is cognizant, someone who's following the Holy Spirit, someone who's reading up on the Bible, or I could lose sight of those things. So if and all of these things are necessary for vetting, and so wisdom is part of that. Wisdom is a form of, or vetting is a form of wisdom. You're taking things, you're taking knowledge and using the wisdom that God's give you to be able to make, decisions and to discern. And and I truly believe that vetting is hard, not just in romantic relationships, but relationships in general. People are with friends who are not best for them. People are surrounding themselves and going to business with people who's not best for them. People are commingling. They're doing things, even children. They're with people who are not best for them. And so vetting, it comes in all forms. It's really discerning a person's spirit and see if you guys are equally yoked, if you're like-minded, right? If you guys have the same standards and beliefs. And this is why I say that when you're dating, going back to dating, don't just look at someone's appearance. Look at, hey, is this person someone who has the same standards that I have? Do they have the same fundamental issues that I have? And again, this goes for men and women, because I have actually more men that are reaching out and asking, is this person best for me, than women do. Women are typically are in a relationship, they've already gone through it. So when they're asking, they're hoping, at least in my opinion, a lot of women are hoping that they're just getting someone to solidify what they're already doing. They're not genuinely asking for help. They just either want someone to solidify what they're already doing or help them get out of the mess that they're already in. But most of the time, women, we have intuition. We know when a relationship's not right for us. We can remember the very first time that there was an issue, and then we've ignored those red flags. So why do I do what I do? Am I doing this because, like what many people do, they do it for money? No, I can tell you that. um and I don't need that, right? Are people am I doing it for, just to say that I do relationship coaching? No, because a lot of times when people are coming to me, it's it's bothersome. It turns my spirit, because you're getting a lot of negative information, and all that does is mentally weigh you down. Now, one of the biggest reasons why I do what I do is because when I worked with juveniles, so I seen them in going through the system, and I would see them come up in front of the judge, and the judge would ask, where are your parents? Where's my mother's here, my father's here, and those situations are usually sad situations. My mother's out in the street, or I don't know where she is. My dad's in jail. My dad's here. I don't know who he is. My grandmother is watching me, and she has 19 other children, or 10. So you're listening to things like this. Then When you're on the other side of the DCF side, then I would see, okay, well, um, someone's taking the child away. Someone is, the child is not in the home, so to speak. So then you're looking at this and you're wondering why. Why is, hold on, someone's trying to call me. But so then you're thinking to yourself, why is this situation happening? I don't like seeing children in situations where they didn't ask for these situations. Children didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to be here. They didn't ask for all of this. You did. You asked for it. Yeah, you did. You did ask for it because you knew what the consequences could possibly be. You knew that, um, giving a piece of yourself, whether you're a man or a woman, giving a piece of yourself, being intimate with someone could result in a child, could result in some type of repercussions, could result, whether it's an affair or whether you were single, you knew what the end result could possibly be and you decided to do it anyway. And now this child is the result of that, or this issue, this repercussion is the issue or is the cause of that. And you're upset that it happened. And so the child didn't ask for it. So now you're angry with the child because the child reminds you of the father or the child reminds you of the mother. And it's not their fault. And so that saddens me. And so why I do what I do is because I believe that if your mindset is right, if you have the right mindset as a man and a woman, when you can go out in the world and then procreate, now you can produce children who know who they are, they understand their identity. They're not going to go out and reproduce and recreate what their parents did, which is this toxic relationship that they've created, not just in other romantic relationships, but with others. And this is who we should be worried about. When we're on here and we're talking, we should be worried about the future people, not just the here and today. Although, if you're listening, I care about, you and what you're going through and how you can be better, to a better version of yourself, 2.0, right? But I also want the generations to come, your seed, to be better. And how we do that is how we are for ourselves. So when I do these videos, I'm also doing these videos for my daughter. I'm doing these videos for my sons, right? So when I'm gone, they can look and see what I've created online for them. This is like for them to understand how to be men and women. And sometimes we just, we think that it's all about us. We think it's about us and how we feel. This is why we are lustful. This is why we are in relationships that are casual. This is why we are, claiming we don't want this because we see other people are, affected by marriage or affected by divorce or affected by putting labels on, affected by living together, affected, whatever. We see the effects of other people, that's a negative consequence, and we're afraid that's going to happen to us. So basically we're living in fear. We're living in a world that is based on someone else's experience rather than living out and taking the necessary risk, because everyone's going to get hurt. So there's no need to say I will never love again. But it's amazing that we get in the car every day to drive where we need to go when people get in accidents often, but we still take the time to get up and drive. People, have no, pick no bones about it to sit down when people fall out of their chair all the time because of a broken chair. People are, flying on planes and getting on roller coasters, right? And it's a possibility that a negative consequence could result of this. But at the same time, we are okay with doing those things, but we're afraid to do what we were created to do. And um and all of the things that we were created to do ties into our role, who we are as men and women. And someone was talking about submission, and submission is a scary word for a lot of people, and sometimes people have abused that word, submission. But I'm here to say that that actually is a very good word. It is a good word when you know your role, and when you are when you have a leader who properly knows how to lead with a level of gentleness. How you lead a child is different how you lead an animal, which is different how you lead another human being. And I'm saying this because um, if you are, a shepherd, right? If you are on a farm, you are going to lead animals differently. If you have a child, if it's a baby, an infant, how you raise them, how you're going to lead them is going to be different than you do a teenager. And the same way, it's going to be different than how you lead men and women that are under you if you are in a form of leadership in at work. So understanding that is going to take a certain level of gentleness, certain level of reasoning and things like that. And sometimes we have people who like to beat their chest, men and women. They like to um, demand respect. And I have a book, and it's for men. Command respect from the woman you want. A lot of people say, well, why are you writing a book for men? Well, if you are a man and you want a woman's respect, how are you going to know what women are going to respect if you're only listening to men when it comes to that? I'm a woman. I can tell you how women will respect you as a man. And so none of this book is to make you soft or anything. It actually the goal is to make you more masculine, right? It's to make you more masculine, but it's telling you what we want, because truly women, no matter how they come across, most women want men who are masculine. They don't want soft men. They will run over a soft man. They will use a soft man, a weak man, but they really want a masculine man. They truly do. And then this book is to do that. Now, if you're a woman listening, I do have a book for you. And every time I'm ready to publish this book, you know, it's always like, no, it's not finished. I have another chapter to write. I have another chapter to write, because there's always new things and new ideas that have not been fully explained. And so many people are looking on social media for the answers, and those answers are not always right. And why it's not right is because sometimes these things are textbook. Like, the people that are saying these things, they're saying textbook knowledge. But if you don't live it, you won't know it. Think of a doctor. You can go to school and learn all that you need to know about certain things in a medical field. But if you are in the emergency room, and you are a doctor in emergency rooms, if you know, there's always going to be something that's different than what you learned from the textbook. It wasn't, the body is a funny thing. So you may have learned how to do this, but whatever this symptom or this issue is manifesting itself in a different way that's not consistent with what the text said. So understanding that, you will say, you know what, this is field training. This is something I've learned on the field. So when it shows itself somewhere else, you can let the people, the resident behind you know what, even though it manifests itself in this way in the textbook, it can do this. And so if you're married, if you've been married long enough, you will know that everything that is not going to always be in a book. Same thing with children. You can learn all you need to know. It's not going to always be in a book, because we are people and we are different. Our bodies are different. Our hormones are different. Our reactions, the environment around us is going to make us do different things. And it's not going to always go by the book. So I know my husband, but there's some things I will probably never know about him. And because of that, certain issues and things could present itself that I would not have known if I just read a book on how to be a great wife. There's going to be things I'm going to have to learn through experience. And even though I've known him for 16 years, been married for almost 14, I'm pretty sure when year 20 comes around, I'm going to learn something different about that man, and he's going to learn something different about him. He surprises me every year. Every year, I learn something new about his personality, because we're always evolving. We're an evolving type of people. And that's great. That's great that we're evolving. So because we're evolving, sometimes textbooks are old editions, and we have new phases in our life. And so if you are someone who's not married, or you want to be married, understand that men and women are different. And I and when you understand that, then you won't get so picky and petty and mad about some of the simple things. I tell you this, another reason why I do what I do is, prior to me even coming online, which I originally didn't want to come online, but I came online because someone said, hey, you know what, if you're going to be helping people, you probably need to get a presence out there and go online. I'm like, oh, okay. But prior to that, I remember just kind of whining to myself, upset that my husband didn't take this particular, the trash out. And it became a problem where he would miss so many trash days. We would have too many trash out, and it became this big issue. And I was like, oh God, pray for this man, do this, do that. And he said to me, no, worry about you, because you're not all the way there either. And it hit me. And I realized I am not all there. I'm not being the best that I can be when I need to be. And so from there, I've worked on bettering myself as a wife. Now, we didn't have a horrible marriage or anything, but sometimes when we get complacent and think that our marriage is good, just know that it's not, because you can always be better. You can always try to do things better. So when I made a conscious effort, my husband was like, wow, like, what is going on, And consistency is key, because they may not believe you at first, but they eventually will. And what I mean by that is I became less petty. I stopped being irritated about you know I stopped being this person like most women are, right? Nitpicky and things like that. The other day my husband cooked for us. That house, the kitchen was a mess, right? And I could have been like, oh no, nope, he's gonna clean this up, because he's a messy cooker. He knows it, right? And I'm one of those clean as I go. But so he was frying some fish, and it was a hot mess. And I could have said, what is going on in this kitchen? But I said, you know what? My man loved me so much that he cooked for me. He allowed me to relax, do all of these things. Why not? So what? You know what? It's my pleasure to clean up this kitchen, because I didn't have to lift a finger yesterday. I didn't have to do that. And so when he saw the kitchen and he saw me go in there, he was like, oh, I'll get it. I said, you don't have to do a thing. You cooking was enough. And so with this, I'll do it with pleasure. And of course, he chuckles, and he knows now I'm serious. And most people, they hear like, oh gosh, she's being extra. No, it is my pleasure to cook. Why? Or to clean, because you took the time to do something that I would have had to do. Most likely I would have cooked, and I would have cleaned afterwards, right? And not to say that he doesn't help, but that's typically what I'll do. And so I say this: if you're a woman and you're nitpicking about something on the floor that your husband has done, this and that, forget about it. Think about all the good he has done. And this is if you have a good man, because sometimes we can be nitpicky about the craziest thing. We can derail the entire day because something's on the floor, because something's not right. My husband's good for going in the cabinet and leaving it open. Am I going to mess that up? Am I going to mess my whole day up because I call him and argue about leaving a door open that takes me 2 seconds to close and then move on about my day? Because right now he's headed to work, right? Well, not right now, but if I'm on the way to work and I see that it's open, I'm like, okay, so I got a man who's going to work. He's providing for us. He's taking care of us. The cabinet was open because he cooked breakfast for our children. And I'm going to call and be mad because he left a cabinet open. And I think this is the things we need to think about. Play it out in your head. Let me see. I can't see the comments because of the way I got my phone. Let me see. Thank you so much for Abba's house. Yes, thank you. Social media relations and standards of a healthy relationship. Yep. Continue to allow the Lord to lead your husband. Yes, I will, and this is the thing. If you're a wife, pray for your husband's leadership. If you don't think that you can submit to him, if you don't think he's that man right now, pray that you be the woman that God wants you to be, and that just God put his hand on him, because it starts with you. You could pray all day long for your husband to be better, but pray that you be the wife that God designed. And when you do that, God will work on him, because that's what I've learned with me. Stop hoping that God changes him. Pray that God changes you. Pray that God changes you. If you got children who are crazy, because I'm telling you, I have children. I have a son who has ADHD, right? And I'm like, oh, but you know what? I stopped praying that, oh, God, take it. We'll put your hand on him. Nope. I'm going to pray that God makes me the mother that I need to be for that child. Right. And this is what we need to do. Start praying for ourselves to be better. Stop praying for other people. You can pray for your enemies. You can pray for other people, but pray for yourself. Right. right? Um, big ups to your husband, yes. And I love that man. And I'd be a fool to do anything to jeopardize that relationship, because sometimes people don't know what they have until it's gone. So imagine that gone. Imagine, like, I have 3 children. Imagine that man, okay? His leadership, his love, his him, helping us, all of these things. Him being there next to me. And if I imagine all of that gone, then it allows you to appreciate when they're there. Um, and even the little things, when my husband and I, we have a trainer. We go work out together sometimes, right? And when we go work out, it's about 3 days a week we do that. And he would take my water every day. My husband would get me a water, put a lemon in it or an orange in it, and it would taste, nice and fruity. And we take it. And one day he forgot. So every day he would take it. This time he forgot because we were rushing. And I'm like, oh my God, you forgot my water. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, don't apologize. I'm glad you forgot it, because this reminds me of just the little things you do for me and how important it is. And sometimes we don't realize that. We don't realize the small things people do, and we take it for granted. And so if you have someone that does something for you every day, appreciate those small things, because he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to get my water. I could have just got my water and left, but he takes the time to do that, and he puts a lot of effort and energy. Because when I get my water, I just grab a bottle of water. When he gets my water, he actually gets the water bottle, put some ice in it, cut up some fruit and put it in it. And so I think that sometimes we overlook things that people do, and we magnify the bad things they do, and we minimize the good things they do. And when you are with someone and they don't have any good things, then you need to evaluate, why are they in your life and what value they're adding to you. And let me see what time it is, because I'll be getting off soon. All right, so I got a little time. All right, so I think that sometimes we minimize things that people do, and we ignore it, and so we only see the bad that they do. And now some people have blinders on, and they ignore those things and only see the good things, and not realizing what things they need to be, what they need to do in their relationship. And all of this is part of vetting. When someone is doing something that is hurting the relationship, address it. Don't be afraid to address it. Now, I'm not one who likes confrontation. I do not like confrontation. But I will tell you, and my husband will tell you, I don't mind discussing the issue that's difficult if it's going to bring about resolution, because that's what I need. One thing my husband knows is I do not like when he's upset with me at all. He may not say anything, and I'm like, well, something's bothering you. I feel it. Tell me what's going on. And a lot of times it may not even be me. It just may be the day, but I can feel his energy. He's like, oh, nothing. I'm like, no, you need to talk about it. And he's like, oh, today was just a day. I'm just not in the mood for talking. Or I saw you did this and this, but tell me. Tell me. And he knows I have thick skin. I'm one to be able to take information and use it. And instead of internalize it, I use it to be better. That's me. I'm a Virgo, right? And so if you are someone who does not like criticism, first consider, is the thing that the person telling you, is it to hurt you? Is it to harm you? If it is, then you may want to reconsider them in your life, or consider, hey, talking to them about how they speak to you. Now, if you know that everything they're saying is with love, but it's the truth, get over it. Just do and be better. That's it. Just do and be better. A lot of times we don't want to do that. We don't want to do better. We don't want to be better. We just want to have everyone co-sign our behavior, and it's inappropriate. I do think we need to bring shame back. I do. Because shame allowed us to have a little bit more respect for ourselves and for our family name, and to want to do better, and not to just wallow in our pettiness and in our drama and in our toxic relationships. So I implore you to do better and be better. I want you to be the best version of yourself. Yeah. Anita, I'm listening. All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Yes. And Abba said, ungratefulness kills relationship. Yes, it does. It does. And actually, ungratefulness can bring about resentment. Then the person starts to resent you because they feel unappreciated. right? And so I've always mentioned about the best way to love someone is through their love language, right? And you want to find out what makes them feel loved. And I mentioned before that for most men, not always, but for most men, besides physical touch, um, affirmations are important. Now, I do have affirmations. I'm trying to put it up for sale so you can do affirmations for yourself if you're a woman, and affirmations for your man if you have a man, whether he's your boyfriend or your husband. I have affirmations so you can be able to do that. And of course, we use women like affirmations, so I have self affirmations. So I'm going to put them up for sale. I'm going to put them on my site, you guys can get it. I think that it is really, really good. A good way. I've tried it on my husband. I know it works. It's not disposable, so you can keep using them over and over, because affirmations are important. Men need to be affirmed verbally and through action. Not enough to say I love you and then ignore him, or um, you know, be nitpicky and to have attitudes and not show submission. All of those things are a form of love, because for love, it's respect for a man. So you're going to need to show respect. Um, the other the other thing, like for me, my love language is acts of service. So my husband cooking and things like that, he knows that that is really warming to my heart. So if you know what your love language is, if yours is gifts, right? If yours is quality time is mine as well. So you don't have to give me any gifts. Someone asked me the other day, it was Valentine's Day, and y'all didn't do much. We did. He gave me his time, and that's all I need. I don't need to go out every time on Valentine's Day. I got a man who says me he loves me 365. I don't need him to prove it one day just for everybody else. I know how he feels about me. I know how I feel about him. I don't need Valentine's Day to show the world how we feel about each other so we can spend unnecessary money when really all I want is his time and to be home. So, yeah, right? And so, Anita, I am learning a lot because I have a great husband and I'm used to being the boss, so I'm listening. Thanks. Yes. Sometimes we got to release that control that we want to have as women. And I promise you, you'll start to love it. There was at one time we would do the bills together. It's years ago. Now, my husband, he's in finance, so he's really great with that. But we used to do the bills together. And it used to be nerve-wracking trying to figure out, okay, so we got this, we got that, we got this. And one day he said, all right, it's time to go do the bills every year or whatever quarter, we readjust how we're going to do the bills, right? Or allocate it. And I said, you the finance guy, well, I don't want to do it. Can you do it and just tell me what to do? He was like, oh, okay. I felt freed ever since. I don't want to know what needs to do what. Just tell me where to go, how much to take out, this and that. And we had all these different accounts. And he would just say, well, this counts for bills. Use this account for play. If we want to go on vacation, we use this account. If we want to do this. If we need to fix the car or do whatever, if it's, any type of rainy day type of money, use this account. Just tell me what to do. That's it. I don't need to know the ins and outs and how much is going to. Don't do that. And I'm telling you, when you free yourself of some of that control, and allowing to put it in his hands, you will be free. I promise you, you won't feel as overwhelmed trying to do everything and be everything. We so much try to be superwoman, but we don't have to be. Sometimes we can relax. It's okay. And that feels so good to me. I already have a demanding job, and by the grace of God, it's not like I have to have this job in order for us to survive. My husband does that. And like I said, he's a finance guy. He's made it where we can do everything off of one income, which I appreciate that about him. But I have a demanding job as enough, and I have, children. Like I said, I have 3 kids. I don't want to have to worry about all the other stuff around the house. You take care of that. I just take care of making the house look good, taking care of the children, the education, and of course include him on the education, and then worry about that stuff. You do everything else. So as women, submission is actually a good thing sometimes. It frees us up. So, I mean, and again, you don't even have to work if you don't want to. If you want to be a housewife, you can. I appreciate that. I appreciate that in women. Um, so yes, not allow her to do just what she is doing. Yeah, no, allow her to do just what she is doing. Yeah, yeah. Kindly consider doing a collaboration with Lucasy, if that's how you say it, Lucasy and Chantel Simone. I think Chantel Simone, I believe I tried to reach out, but this is a while ago. I tried to reach out. I didn't hear back. So, but I don't mind collabing with people. And I'm assuming you mean like a one-time collab. I don't mind collabing with people. My issue is I truly don't know what other people stand on. I can watch a little bit of their content. I don't know what people stand on, what their beliefs are, so to speak. So I'd rather sometimes know that because I've had, if you watched a little bit of my videos, I would have people on, I would talk to them, interview them. But sometimes I just don't believe people heart is right, and that can be an effect on my brand because I do want to do things the right way. I do. So I would have to do a little bit more research on people now than I would have before, if I do future collabs. But I have tried to do that because some of these points that people are making are actually good points. And again, this is not to say that people who are not married or people who are not in a relationship that they don't offer good advice, but sometimes you don't know the motives, like about why people do the things they do. And I guess it's not about these people that you mentioned, it's just in general. We don't know the motives of people, and what they do. I've said often now, the people who I have named on my channel, which is I can't Shira 7. I I'm telling y'all, this is going to be the content that she provides is going to hurt a lot of women. And it's not just her, it's going to be other women. And yes, she's married. And this is why I say that, because sometimes people have a facade. You don't know who they are. But what I can tell you is anyone that knows me knows my heart. They can tell you the same way I'm on here is the same way I am off the camera. I'm fun, I'm energetic, and I keep it real. I'm assertive, but I also am very feminine and very loving, right? And so you're not going to get a different version of me. You may get me. Sometimes I'm quiet, sometimes I'm reserved, but most of the time I'm an extrovert. um, let's see. Yeah, and before ask your husband, do you need help? I say no. I'm not sure what y'all are talking about right there. That's my problem. I try to control everything, but I let him know he can handle the bills. Great to hear you say that. Yes, I'm telling you, it'll free you. Now, if you are a woman who's the finance person and you're great at the bills and he's a poor spender, then you guys can consider that and say, hey, well, I'll do the bills, but you do this. Now, again, like I said, my husband's the money guy, so it would make sense for him to handle that. But some, I think a true leader allows everyone to play in their own strengths. So if money and budgeting and things like that is not the man's strength, then he would have the woman do that, and he would have his own strengths, right? So again, that's my husband's strength. Not that it's a weakness of mine, but that's his strength. I'll allow him to do that. He knows I'm good with the education, so he will allow me to do that. But if my husband was an educator, then that would be, a strength of his. If it's about anything related to legal, if it's anything related, like I said, to education, anything related to um, the schools or of that sort, then he's going to rely on me for that. If it's going to be about nutrition, how we eat, all of these things. So again, we both have strengths and weaknesses. And in the best way to understand if someone's adding value to your life, though, is if you do have a weakness and the person that's in your life is actually turning that weakness into a strength, helping you hone the skills that you need so that weakness can become a strength. Um, I can look up, okay, the YouTuber Luke Casey 25 is legit and echoes a lot of the same perspectives. Okay. So I'll definitely look that up. Thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that. I don't think I've ever seen this person's content, so I'll look at it. And again, this isn't to say about these particular people, but I'm saying in general. But I will say I do like bringing on people and talking with people of different perspectives, whether they're all always like mine, but I like talking to different people because I like to understand people's mindset. I'm one who is a good observer of people. And my husband says if she's quiet, that means she's observing and discerning. And that is true. So many people will tell you there's people that I will let them talk and talk and talk, and all I do is soak it in and listen. I can name countless times I've done that, and people probably think I'm quiet. No, I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking about a lot of things of what you're saying. But I will say this: if you have not watched any of my previous content, definitely go ahead and take a look at it. You can probably even see the transition of the show. Like I said, I don't even do that many lives anymore. So the last time I did lives was a while ago. But I had a little time. I'm about to get off in a minute because I'm about to get back in here and finish on some work that I need to do. So I'm glad that you guys have taken the time to come on. It seems like this is a good time that people are on their lunch or out and about, depending on what side of the world you're on. But I appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe now. It's free. It's free. Subscribe. All that is so when content comes, you'll get notifications. So hit that notification bell, hit the subscription button. It's free, as I said. If you want to know more about me, you can go to mrsdanielledevita.com. I have a website. I've taken off a lot of my coaching because I do have people that I coach on regular, but I don't have time to do that, and a number of other things that I currently do. So if you still like your questions answered, feel free to email me. You can either go to my website and use the contact page, or you can actually just email me, mrsdanielledevita@gmail.com or info@mrsdanielledevita.com. Either one of those. You can email me your questions and I'll post, like maybe I'll do another live chat and put it on here. Sometimes I do it on a recorded video and I read people's questions that they've emailed me. So definitely go ahead and do that because I really want to get people's questions answered. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to head out because I've got to go. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Take care. Let me get off of this.